Hello, everybody. I'm Lehman Crafton Jr., aka Zorval Chan Less Than Guru. Today is Torg Tuesday, so I'm going to talk about Torg, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of original Torg and a little bit of Torg Eternity, and kind of bring the two together, which is something that I like to do, and kind of where I got it started. My start in Torg Eternity was by writing the Paraverse, which is a supplement using Torg Eternity rules that made it the world in the Cosmverse a little more like the original Torg, but with a darker twist where instead of Torg Eternity, where Quinn Sebastian kind of knows what had went on in the previous war and brought that knowledge into Torg Eternity, and the Paraverse, the Gaunt Man discovered what happened in the original official Torg and brought that knowledge into the new Paraverse, my personal Cosmverse. But what I want to talk about is, since I do currently use Torg Eternity rules with some adjustments, house rules, if you would, in the Paraverse, it shows a lot of those rules that I've used, unless it has been supplanted by a newer release. Um, Old original Torg information is interesting, and a lot of the creatures and a lot of the plot hooks and things like that can really work well in a Torg Eternity game. And I wanted to go over three sources that you could get on Drive-Thru RPG if you aren't lucky like me and actually have a full, and you can see the third one down there, that's a almost full thing of original Torg source books and adventures and other material for the original setting. So basically, these are going to go in order of shortest to longest. And what I mean by there is they're all supplements. There's 3 supplement adventure type packs that they came. And the Cassandra files have quite a few. And I'll just show you the table of contents. Any of these in the table of contents is a separate little adventure hook. And they're not by any means full-fledged adventures. Some of these I'll go ahead and I'll show you, like here, and they're not in order. So you see there's a 4 and the next one's 27, but you look, they're 2 columns and it's 2 different adventure hooks. Well, this one's one whole adventure that you can make, and this one goes to here. So it's like a column and most of the other column. And then here, that's a little bit further. And so, and I do want to say, like this one here, the Viking amulet, I remember doing back in the day, and there's also maps and stuff they have that you can use. But this is a good, if you just want a loose plot hook that you can fill in as a game master, this is a very good supplement for that. And it takes place in all the different realms and that. So I really liked this. The next one is a little more fully fledged, filled out, I guess, but not quite as much, and that is Queenswrath. And these all take place in Isle, which hasn't changed very much since the original Torg. So these are very easy to plop down anywhere in Isle. And basically, each one of these is kind of like a decree by Queen Pela Ardene. So it says, by order of Pela Ardene, Lady of the Light, to all loyal subjects, and then you kind of get a little thing. And these are sort of like wanted or mission posters, I guess you could have, or you could have a courier hand it to your party if they know that you're Storm Knights. And it basically gives them the hook. And then here you'll see, like, it'll tell you kind of the adventure plot. And then you might have an item. Like this one has a spell, a couple of spells. But they have like a bad guy, but they don't really stat him out in here. In other places, they do. So here they actually have a threat statted out. But they're usually a few pages, say 3 to 4 pages with a map. Here's one I remember kind of alternating. And I always alter stuff. I always change stuff and make them my own. And as I was going through this, I kind of was looking at this Crystal Obsession. And I didn't actually play this in Torg Eternity, but what I did do is I read this and thought, wow, this would be really good to have in my Cosmverse has Azteca Empire. And in here it's a Crystal Skull, which is the whole modern what I want to say, fake. It's been absolutely proven to be crystal skulls to be faked, but it basically takes that aspect and puts it in aisle as if one of those artifacts had been in a British museum, and it released a sorcerer who had been in that idol. So basically, what I did is, I want to say, not too long before I kind of saw this and got inspired by it, I had went to Belize, and there was a place, I believe Ottenhu, that it was um, a place that actually had a jade skull in it. That is the very famous artifact of that Mayan site. And basically, what I did is, instead of having a crystal skull, I had the jade skull, and I had it take place in Azteca, and the characters were already in Azteca. And as they went through, I kind of did that. But it was something that I just kind of got the idea from here, and then I fleshed it out a lot more. So these are great things to do in that. And then the last one I want to show is, this is Full Moon Draw. And this has a adventure that could take place in 6 different realms. It doesn't have Tharkhold because Tharkhold failed to land successfully the first time. And so you have Orosh, you have Isle, you can use the Nippon Tech one for Pan Pacifica, Cyber Papacy, Nile Empire, and Living Land. So each one of these has a nice, interesting thing. And these are, since there's only 6 of them, they take about, it looks like 10 pages each. So these are actually in scenes. You have scene, 1, 2, usually scene or acts. They're basically 1 act, I believe, and they probably have about 4 to 5 scenes. So this one has 4. This one has 6. So, give or take 5 scenes, and it has more fully fleshed out. So you go from the very loose Cassandra files that can be just a column or 2, and then you have these, which are a few pages, and then you have these, which are a full act, basically one act that you can drop in, just like a Delphi mission. And maybe it's not an actual Delphi mission. Maybe it is between acts of a mega adventure or 2 different Delphi missions that the characters just stumble across. So if you don't want to just have your Delphi Council is sending the people out to do this, and then they finish that, and then the Delphi Council is sending them out to do this, and then that, and that type of thing. If you want it, Delphi sends you out, you do this, and then you stumble across something different, drop one of these into it. Boom. Makes it really fast, interesting, switches up things, and enacts 5 extra XP. So hey, the players won't mind; they're going to get XP at the end. One thing, if you are doing converting one of these to Torg Eternity from original Torg, sometimes you just find the exact same monster. One of these I was looking at earlier had skeletons and a sorcerer, wizard type, evil wizard. So the skeletons, you just grab the skeletons from Isle. Boom. Transplant. No need to worry about stats. For a wizard, you could look at a wizard in Isle or one of the other Isle adventures that has a wizard, and you could just change the name and pull that over. Or if you want to convert a threat from here, I've done a lot of conversions. I've done a lot of conversions on the fly, and I've done a lot of conversions as a freelance author. Transferring things, because sometimes I like those things from original Torg and I want to bring them in, and I found that's a common theme amongst us authors. We like to add new stuff, of course, but we also like that nostalgia, bring some of those cool older original Torg monsters and threats into it. So basically, kind of look at your parties. Your party alpha, is it beta, is it gamma? If it's gamma, I wouldn't change anything at all, pretty much. Maybe toughnesses I might lower, because Torg Eternity toughnesses kind of stop. They don't have those weapons that do 30 plus damage. The big heavy weapons stuff, you're talking 20s, and so and most personal weapons using firearms or energy weapons and stuff, you're looking 16. You're looking at maybe certain ones being 18, but mostly you're 15, 14s, 13s, stuff like that. So you might want to drop the toughness depending, but the stat wise for attacking and stuff, I would probably keep that about the same. If my thing is beta, I might drop an attribute down a point. I might drop a skill down a point or two. And if it's an alpha, I would drop stats down possibly 2 to 3 points. And for skills, I would look at a kind of a beginning or middle alpha player character and look at the skills, the total value, and see how that compares. So, like in one of these, I believe I was looking at the Queen's Wrath. Okay, let me just boom open it up. It wasn't the one that I was thinking of, but here's a harpy, and so I'm looking at this and I'm going a dex of 10. That makes sense to me. I wouldn't change that at all. I'm looking at harpies. You know, they're flying, they're dexterous. That seems fine. Dodge of 11. That's acceptable. They're not a minion. They're not shock troopers or Gospel the First Plantings or things like that. Church street beaters. They're not that. Harpy should be a little more of a threat. So this having a dex 10, dodge of 11, melee weapons of 12, stealth of 11, unarmed of 11, all of that seems perfectly fine to me. I would not change this, and it's not like there's 2 per Storm Knight or anything. It just looks like I open this up and this is a harpy. Strength of 8, that's all it gives. Strength of an 8, that seems somewhat reasonable. If I look at its tools, it says that strength plus 3 is 12. I would probably lower that to 2 for Torg, maybe even a 1, but 12 isn't terrible. And then like toughness is 9 with they give hide of 2, giving it a total toughness because in old original Torg toughness was a separate skill. But a strength of 8, if I wanted to add armor of toughness, that's 10. That seems reasonable to me. And then if I'm looking at a mind of a 7, I might maybe if I wanted to lower a point to make the test of an 8 go down to a 6 or a 7. Charisma might lower that because harpies aren't known for their beauty. They have it as a 7 with taunt as a 9. I would probably make it a 6 and an 8. Unless this was like the first thing I'm throwing at the group, and then I might lower it to a 6 or a 5 and a 7. And then Spirit of 7, Intimidate 8, that seems perfectly fine. Wouldn't have any problems with just taking this harpy and probably not really changing things. And remember, as a game master, your threats do not need to follow the same rules as character advancements because they have special abilities and stuff and not necessarily always have perks. And the players have perks in addition, and they have cards and stuff like that. And if I didn't want to add perks or special abilities, I would probably keep this stat block just as it is because then, besides flying, I would say that its perks are wrapped up in the stats. And if I just wanted to open this up and boom, play it, that seems perfectly fine. I would not have a problem with that at all. And I would just look at individual threats and see if they do need to be adjusted or what are my players and kind of what are their statistics and their ability to hit things and stuff like that, and then look at the creature. And again, this is one harpy that was in this place. That seemed fine for a group of 4 or 5 Storm Knights, in my opinion. So you can just kind of do that. Just drop it 1, 2, 3 points, depending on if it's beta or alpha. And again, if my people were gamma, I wouldn't change any of this except for maybe toughness. The total, how much damage things are going to get reduced by, because you can get some things like dragons in here that have toughnesses of 35. And I would look more of what in Torg Eternity things maybe like tank armor has, which would probably be, and what other dragons have, which would be more of a toughness of say 25. So subtract 5, 10 depending on what that toughness is. But again, this is a great book for just a good, here's a quick plot hook, gives me some information, has some stuff statted out. This is good for it's just an outline. Like seriously, here, file number 97, Diamond Mine, a message intercepted and decoded by the Eagle, which I would assume would be Nile Empire, and as soon as I read it, yes, Here's a message. Pharaoh Mobius, I have dispatched a unit of shock troops to track down the Simpson diamond mine. We know it is about 100 kilometers south of Khartoum. If I do not hear from them in a month's time, I will send out another unit and then another until the mine is finally located. May your life be an eternity. Signed, Wuhan. And then it just says file update. Talks about what the Simpson mine was, a family red mine. And then Mobius's crew that he sent out 3 months ago has not been found. They can offer no suggestions other than extremely clever method must be employed to protect the mine. It's just here. It's just this little bitty thing at the bottom, and you kind of can come up with what you kind of want to do. And if I look at the diamond mine at the page, diamond mine has 44, so let's see if that kind of adds to it. So okay, so here we have two separate sections. One is player side, one is the game master, but the game master side is right here, down here, and then your Imperial shock troop stats right there. Shock troopers are in Torg Eternity. Just pull them right out of the core book, and so you have like basically all added together is less than a page. Kind of a quick idea. You can break that up, expand it if you want. If you just want to insert a scene into another adventure, you could do that. If you want to put a scene between two scenes in another adventure, that would be fine. If there's a part of an adventure that you didn't really like the scene and you have an idea from here, you could just flip them out, put the other one in. So those are my ideas today on how to take these 3 books from original Torg and you drop them into Torg Eternity. It's not that difficult. I have done it a few times, and I have changed things. I always like changing things so that if my players happen to have game mastered or read through these books, that they won't necessarily know what is actually going to happen. So that will be it for Torg Tuesday this week. Hopefully, I've given you some inspiration to look. Again, these can all be found on Drive-Thru RPG. And I'm William Crafton Jr., aka Zorvalchan Less Than Guru. Hit subscribe if you want to see me do Torg Tuesdays every week and to remind you. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hate the video, give me a thumbs down, add a comment. And until next time, I will catch you later.